The gentle morning sunlight spilled into the modest wooden home nestled at the edge of the forest. Birds chirped in the distance as the small family began their day. A young mother carefully wiped her baby's face with warm water, smiling tenderly as the child giggled in her arms. Nearby, her mother-in-law watched with warmth in her eyes, holding the child after breakfast while the mother put away their things. In a corner of the house, a young woman named Tu Tieu sat quietly, her memory clouded by a past she could no longer recall. She had been found injured and lost weeks earlier and taken in by the kind family. Though she could not remember who she was, there was a strange familiarity when she held the baby, a sense of something lost yet deeply cherished. Outside, the man of the house, arrived carrying a box of milk and toys. His eyes sparkled with affection as he handed them to the baby. "Not many men are so thoughtful," the grandmother remarked, watching him with appreciation. "He's always looking after everyone." It was a peaceful day, Sunday. No school for the baby, who played cheerfully while the adults chatted. Sat beside his mother, talking softly about his plans for the day. "I saw a grove of ripe dowd of fruits in the forest yesterday. There's a local market today. I'll go pick some and sell them." The grandmother hesitated. "But the sky looks like it might rain. The forest is far, and the roads are slippery." "I'll be quick," reassured her. "We need the money. And people love those fruits in the market." Tu Tieu overheard the conversation and stepped in. "Why don't I go with him? You can stay with the baby." Though hesitant at first, the grandmother agreed. "If you're feeling strong enough, go ahead. I'll take care of the little one." So, with light backpacks and hope in their hearts, and Tu Tieu ventured into the forest. The journey was long, and the path rough, but together they laughed, picked fruits, and talked like old friends. There were moments when Tu Tieu would pause, staring at the landscape. Something about the forest stirred memories she couldn't place. High above, climbed the trees to reach the ripest clusters while Tu Tieu gathered them in her basket. They worked through the day, their bond quietly growing. Back home, the grandmother and the baby played, building towers from blocks and sharing warm moments. As the sun began to dip below the trees, received a call. "We've located the target near the border," a voice said. "Understood," responded. "I'll coordinate with the local police." He hung up, eyes clouded with tension. Tu Tieu looked concerned. "Is something wrong?" "Just work," he replied softly. Later, went to the police office and met with his superior. The news was heavy. The suspect they had been pursuing, the person responsible for the assault on Mai Hia, was none other than Ha's own mother. His heart sank. "Sir," Ha said, voice steady, "I will not interfere. Please handle it by the law. I must step back from this case." His superior nodded. "We respect your decision. We'll transfer the case to another unit. Go home and look after your family." At home, Tu Tieu had returned ahead of Ha. She brought back a few small toys she found on the roadside, things others had thrown away but could still bring joy to the baby. She cleaned them carefully, then handed them to the child, who squealed with delight. The grandmother smiled. "She's a sweet girl. It feels like she's truly part of the family now." As days passed, Tu Tieu grew more at home. One evening, she confided to the grandmother, "I feel like I've known the baby forever, but I still don't remember my past." "You will," the grandmother said kindly. "The child knows you. That bond, no memory can fake it." Tu Tieu recalled a dream she'd had, of playing with a child in a small wooden house. It was a blurry image, but it filled her with both sadness and warmth. "I think that child might be my son," she whispered. "Yes," the grandmother said gently. "I believe so too." Meanwhile, Ha returned home one day with a heavy heart. His mother's debts had come due. Loan collectors arrived, firm and unsympathetic. "Your mother mortgaged the house," they said. "You have 1 month to repay it, or we take the property." Ha nodded solemnly. "I'll find a way. Please give me one chance." Later that night, Ha sat outside, staring into the quiet sky. "Father," he whispered, "how did it come to this? We took care of her like you asked. But she's destroyed everything." He was torn between the duty to his mother and the pain she had caused. Should he tell Tu Tieu the truth about her? The truth he had kept hidden for years? Inside the house, laughter rang out as the baby played with the toy truck. Tu Tieu smiled, watching her child's joy. The next morning, as the grandmother left to herd the cows, Tu Tieu offered to go instead. She was slowly becoming part of this home, more than a guest, more than a memory. That day, something unexpected happened. Debt collectors arrived at the house. "Time's up," they said. "Clear out today." "I understand," Ha replied. "But give me 1 month. I'll repay the debt. This house, it's the last thing my father left for us." The collectors agreed, but the clock was ticking. As Ha packed, his heart ached. How could his own mother, already responsible for so much pain, now take away the home his father had built? Sitting in the empty room, he whispered again, "Father, guide me. Should I tell her the truth now?" That night, sleep eluded him. Every time he closed his eyes, the image of his mother signing the house away haunted his thoughts. The weight of the secret he carried became heavier, especially as he looked at Tu Tieu, so innocent, so kind, caring for his child as if it were her own. At dawn, he stepped out onto the porch. The sky was gray, mirroring the storm inside him. He heard footsteps behind. It was Tu Tieu, holding a cup of tea. "You're up early," she said softly, offering the cup. He nodded, taking it silently. The warmth in his. She sat beside him. "You didn't sleep well last night. I can tell." He finally turned to her, eyes tired. "Sam, if you found out that someone close to you had done something unforgivable, what would you do?" She tilted her head. "That depends. What's unforgivable?" He looked away. "What if it was betrayal, from someone you trusted with your life?" There was a long pause before she spoke. "I think I'd want to know the truth, even if it hurts." Those words pierced him deeply. Later that day, as they sat together folding the baby's clothes, he took a deep breath. "There's something I need to tell you," he said, voice trembling. "About my mother. And about why we're about to lose this house." She froze, eyes searching his. "What do you mean?" He told her everything. From the investigation at the border, the sudden discovery of his mother's crimes, to the debt she left behind that now threatened the only home they had left. When he finished, silence filled the room. Tu Tieu's hands trembled slightly. "So, your mother, she..." "Yes," he said. "She betrayed us. She nearly destroyed everything my father built. And now she's running from the law." Tears welled in her eyes. "Not just for the house, but for him. You've carried all of this alone?" He nodded. She took his hand gently. "You're not alone anymore." He didn't realize until then how much he needed those words. That night, the two of them sat with the baby between them. The future was uncertain, the road ahead rocky. But for the first time in doubt. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Hung sat alone on the wooden steps of the house. The moonlight lit up the yard faintly, and the occasional chirping of crickets echoed through the silent darkness. His heart felt heavy, burdened by the reality that his family home was no longer his. His mother's past mistakes had now become his responsibility. He glanced toward the room where Tu Tieu and the baby were sleeping peacefully, unaware of the chaos unfolding. His eyes welled up, but he quickly wiped them. "I can't let them know," he whispered. "Not why." The next morning, Hung had already packed a few belongings by dawn. He didn't want to wake anyone, but Tu Tieu had already stirred. Seeing him quietly preparing to leave, she asked gently, "Are you going somewhere?" Startled, he turned and forced a smile. "No, there are a few things I need to take care of." She looked at him, sensing his unease. "Is it about the house?" He froze. Hung, she continued, stepping closer. Last night, I overheard a bit. I didn't mean to, but did something happen? He sighed, defeated. Yes. Mom, she borrowed a large amount of money. She mortgaged the house. Now we only have 1 month to repay it, or we lose everything. She stared at him in shock, covering her mouth. Oh my God. What are we going to do? I don't know, he said honestly. But I'll find a way. I have to. This is Dad's house. The place we grew up in. I can't let it go. Later that day, with borrowed strength, Hung set out for the town market, selling whatever he could, fruit, firewood, even his own belongings. Meanwhile, Tu San stayed back, taking care of the child, helping Hung's mother, and trying to recall more pieces of her memory. As she cleaned up the backyard, a fleeting image flashed through her mind, a wooden fence, a little boy calling her mom, the smell of ripe guavas. Her hands trembled. She closed her eyes, holding on to that faint glimpse. I'm not crazy, she whispered. That's my child. Meanwhile, at the border. Elsewhere, Hung's mother, now a wanted criminal, was on the verge of crossing the border. She moved cautiously, aided by an accomplice, but local authorities had already set up checkpoints based on her last sighting. Lieutenant N and his team closed in. Every step was strategic. Every move calculated. We've almost got her, and said into his radio. She's nearing the forested pass. Copy that, came the reply. The net was closing in. At the village. Back at the village, Hung arrived home exhausted. He barely made enough from the market to cover a fraction of the debt. As he sat down, Tu San brought him water. He noticed something different in her eyes. I think I'm remembering more, she said softly. About the baby. About us. His eyes lit up. I dreamed about a little garden. About hanging clothes in the sun. And your voice, calling me in for lunch. Tears welled in Hung's eyes, and for the first time in days, a glimmer of hope returned. The storm breaks. Just as the day seemed to turn, a knock came at the door. It was the police. Lieutenant Hung, we need to speak with you urgently. He stepped outside. We've located your mother. She's at the border. We're moving in now. Hung's heart dropped. Thank you, he said quietly. I'm grateful for your work. As they left, Tu San stood behind him, unsure what to say. She's still your mother, she whispered. I know, Hung replied. But I have to do what's right. Final scene, 1 month later. The family stood once again in front of the wooden house. Clean, repaired, and freshly painted. A loan had come through, thanks to friends and a sympathetic official who knew Hung's character. They had managed to save the house. Tu San stood in the garden, holding her child, watching Hung help an elderly neighbor. I remember now, she said. Hung turned. This was home. He walked over, tears in his eyes, and embraced her tightly. Welcome back, he whispered. As the sun dipped below the hills, casting a golden glow over the village, the family, once torn apart, stood together again. And finally, peace returned. Welcome to Lai Tu Gwyn channel. Here, we tell heartfelt stories of everyday life, where emotions, memories, and love are gently woven into each moment. Thank you for being here. Wishing you a peaceful and warm day ahead. Welcome to our little corner of peace. May your day be filled with comfort and calm. If you're longing for a quiet escape in nature, join us as we explore lush landscapes and heartwarming moments that bring people together. Morning light streamed gently through the windows of the humble village home where Ha-I-Ca lived with her son Tony and her mother-in-law. Inside, Ha-I-Ca cradled Tony with sweet tenderness while she washed his small face with warm water. Tony cooed in response, his trust and comfort radiating through the quiet room. Her mother-in-law watched with a gentle smile, helping to settle Tony back into his cradle once he was clean and ready for the day. These simple, loving moments defined their life, an unspoken bond recognized by every tender act, each glance filled with devotion. In this place, every sunrise felt like a chance to renew, to find grace in the everyday. As the morning progressed, Hoica and Tony wrapped themselves lightly and stepped out to a street-side stall that sold bánh mì, Vietnamese baguette. The vendor, a kindly older woman, greeted them warmly. "Do you want one for the baby?" she offered, gently handing Tony's portion with caring eyes. Hoica paid 8,000 dong. The baby reached for the crusty bread, and the vendor laughed, such a well-behaved little one. Their smiles lit up the simple scene, a reminder that even in modest settings, compassion and warmth abound. After settling Tony at a local preschool, Hoica and her husband, set out toward the edge of the forest. The air was fresh, and the forest canopy cast dancing shadows along the dirt path. "This forest has grown over," Ha observed, his machete clearing the way. "Let's find some bamboo shoots," Hoica replied, adjusting Tony's rattle on her back. They found patches of shoots, some clustered together, others alone, sprouting through the soft earth. They worked methodically, dig, trim, peel the tough husk to reveal tender cores. Sweat dripped, but their spirits stayed bright. At one point Hoica paused, glancing at the trees. A deep familiarity stirred inside her, as if she'd walked this path before. "I feel like I've been here, with children," she whispered, her voice a mix of wonder and confusion. Ha paused too, concern etched on his face. "Rest if you need. We can take our time." They continued harvesting, gathering a basketful of bamboo shoots before slowly making their way back to the village. Later, back at the house, they laid everything out: bamboo shoots, garlic, chilies. It was time to make pickled bamboo, popular in the local market. "Peel the garlic, then slice the bamboo," Ha instructed, cutting neatly. The garlic's aroma filled the air. Neighbors stopped by to chat. A friend asked, "How was the harvest?" "Tremendous," Hoica replied with a proud smile. "We'll have enough to sell tomorrow." They exchanged stories, laughter echoing against wooden walls. This was more than cooking, it was solidarity, the bond of shared livelihood and support. As dusk came, Hoica felt that ache again, like a memory lingering at the edge of consciousness. "I dreamed of a waterfall," she said softly, staring into the half-empty basket. "We were peeling bamboo, and I heard children laughing." Ha put a hand on her shoulder. "I promise, we'll go back someday." Her eyes filled with emotion. I hope it helps me remember." The following day, as they were preparing to head to the market, a stranger arrived, a young woman with gentle eyes. "Is this Hoica's house?" she asked. "Yes." "Who are you?" "I'm her sister-in-law. I brought some milk and wanted to visit Hoica." A flicker of recognition passed through Hoica's eyes, but she shook her head slightly. "I'm sorry, I don't remember." Tears glistened in the visitor's eyes. "It's okay. She doesn't remember, but she's safe here. My brother, Hong, well, he's handling things, but he's worried about her." She explained Hoica had been injured earlier and lost her memory. Her boyfriend, Ha, brought her and Tony here to recover. He insisted she not travel far, this place was safe. "I wanted to offer help, to bring her to a doctor or have her stay with our family closer to facilities," the visitor said gently. Hoica's mother-in-law spoke. "She's settled here, we're taking good care of her. Please keep visiting, your presence means a lot." The visitor nodded, gratitude in her gaze. "Thank you. I'll come as often as I can." Over the next hours, the family worked together. They packaged the bamboo shoots into jars, small ones for 20,000 dong, larger ones for 40,000. Colorful garlic and crimson chili added beauty. Neighbors purchased eagerly the next morning at the market. "These smell amazing," one exclaimed, taking several jars. Children waved at Tony playing with his grandmother, adding sweetness to the scene. What started as a harvest had become a symbol of hard work, care, and collective spirit. That afternoon, back at the house, Ha-Ica rested with her mother-in-law by the open window. She felt better, her headache eased. "The ache's gone," she whispered, touching her temple. Her mother-in-law smiled. "Memories come back slowly. But every moment here and now matters more than remembering the past." Ha-Ica nodded. "I still feel that old place calling me, the waterfall, the bamboo forest, children's laughter." Ha entered and put a hand on her. "When Tony has a school break, we'll go there again." Tears glistened in her eyes. "I want to believe. I want to remember." As night fell, they sat around a small meal. Tony slept beside them. The house was warm, filled with reassurance and hope. The morning stress, the visitor, the forest, the memory pangs, all seemed softened by community and family. In the flickering light, Ha-Ica whispered into the quiet, "Maybe tomorrow. I'll finally remember." Sometimes, voices may fall quiet, but love's echo remains. In every handshake, every jar sold, every caring smile, they are threads weaving back the tapestry of her life. For now, the memory may be silent, but healing moves forward. And where healing grows, home blossoms again. Thank you for joining this journey on Tu Tieu, a place where everyday moments speak volumes, ordinary lives touch hearts, and the gentlest stories shape our souls. If this tale brought you warmth, reflection, or simply a moment of calm, please like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories waiting to be told. Together, let's keep listening, keep sharing, finding beauty and hope in life's quiet corners. Welcome to Tu Tieu, a channel where simple stories become warm memories. Thank you for being here. We wish you a peaceful day full of joy and gentle moments. Today's story is about a young woman, her love for traditional food, and the quiet power of community. The morning sun had just risen over the quiet countryside. The sky was soft with hues of orange and pink. In a modest wooden home, Tu Tieu woke up, stretched gently, and began preparing for another busy day. Her small bakery had only recently opened. Nestled in a peaceful village, it wasn't much, a humble space with a wooden sign and a heart full of hope. But even so, it had already become a place where people came not only for food, but for connection. That morning, she planned to make deep-fried glutinous rice cakes, both sweet and savory. She gathered her ingredients with care: peeled mung beans, wood ear mushrooms, ground pork, dried vermicelli, and sticky rice flour. Each item was cleaned and prepared by hand, as she had learned from her grandmother years ago. She washed the mung beans thoroughly, then set them to boil, their earthy aroma filling the air. As the beans softened, she soaked the mushrooms in dried noodles, then minced everything together to create the savory filling. The sweet filling was simpler, mashed mung beans mixed with white sugar. Each ingredient told a story, whispered through time. As the dough rested under plastic wrap, she cleaned the counters and smiled at the growing sunlight filtering through her window. Today, she thought, would be a good day. Just as she finished shaping the first batch of dough, a familiar voice called from the gate. "Sister, what are you making today?" It was Trang, her close friend and occasional baking companion. She had stopped by after delivering building materials to a nearby site. "I'm making bánh rán," Lai said cheerfully. "Sweet ones and savory ones. Come help me?" Trang grinned. "Of course." Together, they set up their workstation. Trang helped prepare the sweet filling while Lai filled the savory ones with minced meat and mushrooms. Laughter echoed in the room as they folded, rolled, and formed each cake with gentle precision. The kitchen was now filled with warmth, the aroma of spices, the sound of sizzling oil, the bond of two women sharing tradition. As Trang worked, Lai prepared the papaya salad, a fresh side dish made from shredded green papaya, carrots, garlic, chilies, sugar, and lime juice. She recalled how her mother used to make it on warm summer days. Cooking wasn't just a necessity to her. It was a language, a form of love. Through each dish, she connected with her past and offered a piece of herself to those who came to her bakery. By mid-morning, the bakery was open. Customers began arriving, neighbors, children, elders from the village. A little girl pointed to the sweet cakes. "Can I have one, please?" she asked shyly. "Of course," Lai replied, placing the warm golden cake into a small dish. "I made this just for you." A kind woman ordered papaya salad and sweet cakes to take home. An elderly man came to sit and enjoy a plate of bánh cuốn, steamed rice rolls filled with savory goodness. Trang helped serve customers while I moved between frying, packing, and greeting everyone with a smile. The bakery, though simple, was alive with energy, voices, laughter, and the scent of freshly made food. Even Trang's mother stopped by, offering to help roll the bánh cuốn. "You've built something wonderful," she told Lai. "Your grandmother would be proud." As the afternoon sun hung low, Lai paused for a moment. She looked around, trays of finished cakes, happy customers chatting outside, and the warm breeze carrying the smell of home-cooked meals. She thought about the journey. From quietly learning recipes in her childhood to starting this bakery with little more than hope and hard work. She didn't have much, no bright lights, no big advertisements. But she had honesty, kindness, and a heart that wanted to give. In return, the village gave her love, support, and the feeling of home. That, to her, was enough. As the sky began to darken and customers dwindled, Lai and Trang cleaned the shop. They packed the leftovers, wiped down the counters, and sat together with a cup of tea. "I think I'll try making new cakes next week," Lai said. "I'll come help," Trang replied. They laughed, talked about their dreams, and watched the stars blink into the night sky. Thank you for joining us in today's story. If this quiet journey brought you a moment of peace, we hope you'll return for more. A new day dawned over the quiet village. The gentle rustle of leaves, the distant sound of flowing water, and the warmth of the morning sun stirred Lai Tu Tieu awake. She greeted the world with a soft smile and a warm heart. "Good morning, my dear friends," she whispered, as if to the sky itself. "Thank you for the kind words and endless support you've given me. May your day be filled with health and happiness." Today was another meaningful day. Her small bakery by the riverside had only recently opened, yet it had already welcomed so many kind guests. The joy of serving homemade food made from her own hands brought her fulfillment she had longed for in silence. She got ready early. "Today, I will be making fried sticky rice cakes," she said softly, organizing the ingredients with care. She began by washing mung beans, carefully peeled and cleaned, knowing they would form the heart of the sweet filling. Despite the long hours, the bakery had become a symbol of her dreams. "It's been overwhelming to see so many customers so soon. I'll keep working hard," she whispered to herself, her hands moving steadily as she kneaded the glutinous rice flour. She added cool boiled water and mixed until it formed a smooth dough, which she wrapped carefully in plastic wrap to let it rest. As the dough softened, she moved on to the other ingredients: wood ear mushrooms, thin rice vermicelli, minced pork, and fragrant shallots. She washed the mushrooms, chopped them finely, and cooked the mung beans to a tender consistency before mashing them into a paste with sugar. As the kitchen filled with the aroma of fried shallots and warming spices, a familiar voice called out, "Lai Tu Tieu." It was Trang. She had dropped by after finishing a delivery at a nearby construction site. "Sister, let me help you make the cakes today," Trang offered. Together, they stood at the wooden table. "Let's make two kinds," Lai Tu Tieu said, smiling. "Sweet ones with mung bean and sugar, and savory ones with minced pork and mushrooms." They filled and shaped the cakes by hand, carefully rounding each one with gentle precision. Trang worked on the sweet versions while Lai Tu Tieu focused on the savory. Their laughter and stories mixed with the aroma of cooking, filling the small house with warmth. "Back home, do people make fried rice cakes like this?" Lai Tu Tieu asked Trang as they worked. "Not quite like yours," Trang replied. "Yours are something special." After preparing the cakes, Trang helped Lai Tu Tieu fry them in hot oil until golden and crispy. The first batch was perfect. Later, they prepared papaya salad with green papaya, shredded carrots, chili, garlic, sugar, and lime juice, vibrant, crunchy, and refreshing. Soon, customers began to arrive. "Can I have 10,000 VND of sweet cakes?" "Sure, have a seat," Tu Tieu said, gently placing the cakes in a basket. Word of the new bakery had spread. From children to elders, people came to taste her handmade creations. Trang supported her every step, helping take orders, fry cakes, and serve. Even her relatives stopped by. "Tu Tieu's rolled cakes are delicious," her uncle remarked. "But she's doing it all alone. We need to help her more." "I'll stop by when I'm free," Trang promised. The day grew long but fulfilling. Even as the sun dipped below the trees, Tu Tieu continued her preparations. Tomorrow, she had planned something new, a traditional delicacy called bánh gio, or ash cakes. The next day, the ash cake journey. At dawn, Tu Tieu rose again. "Today, I'll make ash cakes to sell at the bakery," she said with determination. The cakes were made using ash water from burnt sesame stalks, a traditional method requiring patience and precision. She carefully burned the sesame stalks, collecting the ashes and boiling them in water. Once cooled, she filtered the mixture through clean cloth, repeating the process until the water ran clear and golden. She hung the cloth high and let the ash water drip slowly overnight. Then, she washed and soaked sticky rice in the ash water for several hours, the grains gradually turning a golden hue. Meanwhile, she needed molasses for dipping sauce. "I'll need to harvest sugarcane," she whispered, packing a sickle and heading out under the bright morning sun. On her way, she met a man from a construction company discussing a project. "If possible," she overheard, "please consider our firm for the textile factory construction." The conversation drifted into thoughts of trust, partnerships, and how often appearances could deceive. Tu Tieu made a mental note, be cautious, but hopeful. She reached a small sugarcane field. "Hello sir, may I buy some sugarcane to make molasses?" "Sure," the farmer said kindly. 3,000 VND per kilo. She chopped the stalks, weighed them, 34 kilograms, and handed the man his money. "Take care out there," he called out as she left, grateful for the sale. Back home, she washed the sugarcane thoroughly and cut it into pieces to prepare for juicing. She carried it to a nearby shop. "Please help me extract the juice," she asked the store owner. "Of course," the kind woman replied. With a large bucket of fresh cane juice in hand, Tu Tieu returned home. As dusk approached, she scrubbed a large pot and began boiling the juice down into thick, dark molasses. The scent filled the night air. She then washed banana leaves and soft twine for wrapping the cakes. Her hands folded the leaves into cones, scooped in the soaked sticky rice, and tied them shut. By midnight, the cakes were ready to be boiled. She sat by the fire, its glow flickering on her face, tending to the pot. "It will take 5 to 6 hours to cook," she noted, yawning but determined to stay awake. Nearby, the boiled molasses began to crystallize into sugar. She scooped it into jars, carefully storing the precious sweetness. Morning neared. Birds stirred. The stars faded into the pale blue sky. The cakes were done. Steam rose as she lifted them from the pot, soft, fragrant, golden. Her heart swelled with quiet pride. A dream in bloom. From a tiny kitchen and a few ingredients, Tu Tieu had built something lasting. Her bakery was more than a place for cakes, it was a home, a dream, and a gift to the people she loved. Each recipe carried a memory. Each cake, a story. She smiled to herself, wiping sweat from her brow as the first customers of the day arrived. "Welcome," she said, voice gentle, eyes shining. "Would you like to try something sweet?" And just like that, a new day began. At Tu Tieu, we celebrate warmth, tradition, and the simple joys of life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support Tu Tieu and her lovely little bakery. Until next time, may your days be filled with flavor, friendship, and gentle smiles. Welcome to the heartfelt journey of Tu Tieu, where every dish is not just food, but a story of love and dedication. In the peaceful countryside, where birds sing and the air is filled with the aroma of rice flour and banana leaves, Tu Tieu quietly brings a humble dream to life, a simple bakery full of warmth and sincerity. From traditional bánh and hand-cooked molasses to handmade rice noodles with grilled pork, each moment is crafted with hard work, care, and a deep appreciation for life. Join Tu Tieu today on this touching journey, where every bite carries a story, and every visitor becomes part of a tender memory. A new day was beginning, and with it came another quiet morning in the countryside. The gentle sunlight filtered through the trees as Tu Tieu greeted the world outside her small wooden home. "Good morning to everyone," she said with a warm smile. "Thank you for all your kind words and support. It's been a blessing to have you walk alongside me through this journey." Each day, Tu Tieu rose early, her heart full of purpose. The past months had been filled with long days and sleepless nights, as she turned a dream into something real, her very own bakery. Today, she had a new goal: to make a traditional delicacy, bánh, a humble yet cherished cake made from glutinous rice soaked in ash water derived from burning sesame wood. It was a flavor deeply rooted in childhood memories and cultural heritage, and she wanted to bring it to the shelves of her modest bakery. She began with the careful preparation of the sesame ash, boiling and filtering the water, then lifting the cloth bag high and letting the dark essence of the wood slowly drip down. Every step was done with reverence. This was not just food. It was tradition, soul, and memory. After soaking the rice in the special ash water for several hours, she left it to rest. But her work was far from done. To complement the bánh, she needed a dipping sauce made from pure sugarcane syrup, mat mia. So, she set off under the bright sun to find fresh sugarcane. Along the way, she spoke with locals and even negotiated a price with a kind elderly farmer. Together, they weighed bundles of sugarcane under the shade of an old tree. It was a simple transaction, but in that moment, it felt like a quiet celebration of trust and community. Back home, she washed the cane, chopped it into pieces, and brought it to a nearby store where the owner kindly helped her press it into juice. Then, as dusk fell, she lit a fire beneath a large iron pot and began the long, careful process of boiling the juice down into thick, amber syrup. As the syrup simmered, she turned her attention back to the bánh. She carefully folded the leaves, filled them with golden rice, and tied them with softened straw. The scent of boiling syrup mingled with the fresh aroma of banana leaves, filling her home with comforting warmth. Outside, night had quietly arrived. Crickets chirped, and the sound of the river gently flowing reminded her how peaceful life could be, even in its busiest moments. The cane syrup had thickened into honeyed perfection. She poured it into a jar and saved a small bowl to taste. Morning came, and with it, the ritual of opening her bakery. She cleaned tables, organized supplies, and prepared trays of bánh. Each piece was wrapped with care and accompanied by a packet of rich sugarcane syrup. Customers trickled in. Some curious, others already loyal. One customer was surprised by the unique flavor. "What's this sauce?" he asked. "Mat mia," Tu Tieu smiled. "I made it myself, from fresh cane." The compliments flowed. "Your bánh is soft, cool, and sweet. You've brought back childhood memories." Her eyes sparkled with quiet joy. The bakery, still modest and young, was starting to become a gathering place. Elders, children, workers, all came for her food, but stayed for her spirit. That same day, she decided to add another dish to her growing menu: grilled pork patties, served with bánh, steamed rice rolls. She seasoned the pork with pepper, onions, and fish sauce, then let it marinate as she checked on the cakes from the night before. Later, she fried the pork, its aroma drawing curious eyes through the bakery's front door. Each bite was tender and flavorful, the perfect balance to the soft, rolled bánh. But behind the warmth of the bakery, another world stirred, a world of business, projects, and choices. Her friend Yuri arrived, discussing a major garment factory construction project. The conversation quickly turned serious. Who would win the contract? Who could be trusted? and who might be plotting behind the scenes. A shadow of doubt appeared. Some say this project isn't real, Yuri confided. That it's a scheme. But Tu Tieu believed in integrity. We'll review every document. We'll trust, but verify. And if this deal is genuine, we'll make it work. If not, we walk away. Later, while reflecting on the pressures of business, she returned to what grounded her most: food, nature, and care. She picked a basket of ripe figs, croissant, from a tall tree nearby, washed them, and prepared a batch of fermented pickled figs with garlic, chili, and salt. As she worked, she invited her viewers to share their own memories of this fruit. Do you have figs where you live? What do you call them? How do you use them? Her voice was kind and genuine. This wasn't just a cooking show. It was a conversation between friends across screens. Soon after, Yuri returned with a surprise: a handmade noodle press for bánh, traditional Vietnamese rice noodles. I remember you said your bakery needed something special, he said, placing it gently in her hands. Together, they made noodles the old-fashioned way. She prepared the dough. He boiled water and helped press the soft, white strands into the bubbling pot. The kitchen filled with steam and laughter. Try this, she said, handing him a bowl of bánh cha, their freshly made noodles, topped with her grilled pork patties and a hint of fresh herbs. It's delicious, he said, his eyes wide with wonder. Just like my grandmother used to make. Their laughter echoed into the evening, blending with the quiet hum of the countryside. At the end of the day, Tu Tieu looked around at her bakery: the clean tables, the scent of fresh food, the jars of syrup, the trays of cake, the happy faces. She took a deep breath and smiled. This was not just a bakery. This was a dream made real, one dish, one effort, one moment at a time. Thank you, she whispered, not just to the camera, but to everyone: those who helped, those who believed, and those who simply stopped by for a meal. Another day ends in the cozy little kitchen, where love for traditional food touches the hearts of many. From the very first customers, to kind words of encouragement, and rustic dishes that carry the taste of home, everything has come together to create a bakery full of warmth and soul. Tu Tieu continues his path, cooking, learning, sharing, not just meals, but meaningful values of kindness, gratitude, and community. Thank you for watching and joining Tu Tieu on this beautiful journey. If you enjoy gentle, emotional stories from the Vietnamese countryside, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. See you again on the next journey, where the fire is always warm, and the heart is always full.